It's the third sellout of the season here at the Lawrence Jewell Memorial Coliseum as you look at our Golden Corral starting lineups. Golden Corral Buffet and Grill, Sykes, Rivers, Booker, Stitt, and Oglesby, and Harvey Hale, one of the seniors on this Wake Forest team, brought out by his mom and dad, will get the start over Al-Farouq Aminu. Of course, he's a sharpshooter from downtown, joining up with Williams, Teague, McFarland, and James Johnson. Our principal edge keys to the game, G-Man. Who has the edge tonight?
Well, you look at Clemson. They need some perimeter production, especially from Oglesby and KC Rivers. For Wake Forest, size matters, Timmy. We all know that. And they want to utilize their front line to dominate the paint.
Leslie Jones tosses it up. He and Carl Hess and Sean Hall are officiating crew for tonight. And the tap is controlled to Clemson. Booker on the pick and roll.
Well, and that's a good way. They want to try to get the ball to Trevor Booker, and to do it out in space to involve McFarland in screen rolls is a great way to accomplish that.
Johnson on the dribble drive, drops it off to McFarland, but he's fouled by Booker. First foul on Trevor.
Well, you see the screen right there, and he's just going to roll to the basket. It's an easy, simple basketball play. Johnson a little late getting there. And as Clemson is efficient offensively, Tim, it allows them to get into their press more often.
Chase McFarland has been stymied a bit in big games by getting into foul trouble. And I think that's also a key tonight for Clemson, Mike, is keeping Trevor Booker eligible, because Wake Forest has so many more bodies along their front line than does Clemson.
Well, and they do that with Booker by keeping him on the front end of the press, so he doesn't have to play center field down in the other end. And over the last couple of years, Chase McFarland has done a very, very good job defensively against Booker.
Oglesby. And he picks up a frustration foul against Hale after missing the three ball. Well, the game just ended down in Chapel Hill. Tyler Hansbrough, 17 points.
And North Carolina wraps up the #1 seed for the ACC tournament. 2 and 3 still in doubt.
Yeah, and Ty Lawson's no longer doubtful.
No. I never thought he was doubtful.
Questionable, not doubtful. He played. Johnson with a finger roll.
Well, Oliver Purnell told me before the game he wants to be there at halftime. He knows there's going to be a lot of emotion. A senior night. They just went through it down in Clemson. Crowd is going to be into this game. So just kind of hang in there for these first 20 minutes. Absorb those first couple of body blows, and then just kind of recalculate and be there.
So we do know that North Carolina will be the #1 seed. That's obviously very important in the upcoming ACC tournament.
If Wake Forest wins, they move to the #2 seed. Duke would fall to #3.
Booker pops out high. Oglesby, a little pick and pop action with Trevor. Decides to blow by McFarland. Not this time. Johnson the rebound for Wake.
Clear right now that Booker's trying to play off of the lane to draw McFarland out and face him up. Use the dribble drive.
McFarland turned it over. Here's the bracketing for the Atlantic Coast Conference tournament. And once you get past the 3-hole, we know from #1. We know from 3 down or 4 down, but we're still determining who's going to be 2 and 3.
Well, the good news for Florida State is you get a bye on that first day. The bad news is you're in the Tar Heels bracket. Although they had quite a game down in Tallahassee, with Lawson having to beat them at the buzzer.
And time permitting, Leonard Hamilton is going to be joining us in our postgame this evening. A Coach of the Year season for him. Yet another turnover underneath by Clemson. Boy, what a remarkable year it was for Leonard, and this will be for Florida State, Mike, their first trip into the NCAA since 1998.
And a lot of that due to Tony Douglas. He really put that team on his back. Such a prolific scorer, a good defender.
Now the press works this time as Sykes comes away with a steal. Gives it up to DeMontez Stitt.
Wake Forest talked about being strong and smart with the basketball.
Another turnover. Teague alley-ooping. L.D. Williams not able to get there in time. Rivers has not had any touches. Let's see what he does with it here. Looking for Booker on the pick and roll, but it was well defended by Wake. Oglesby, the trigger man from Tennessee, knocks down the triple right over L.D. Williams.
Well, and you can't go underneath the screen on Oglesby. You've got to fight over the top. He doesn't need very much room, and he has unlimited range.
3 straight turnovers by the Deeks. Ishmael Smith will come in on the next dead ball.
Booker has to be careful to reach in right there. Could have been his second foul. Johnson wants to drive it right at him and accomplish just that.
Oh, poor pass by McFarland. He had his man. There's Harvey Hale. Oh, the senior had it halfway down the cylinder and out. Out of bounds for L.D. Williams. There's Oliver Purnell. Talk about some of the classiest people that we'll ever come across in this business. He is that. And a great spokesman for the National Association of Basketball Coaches as well.
And Tim, being honest about it, Clemson is not an easy place to build a basketball program, and he has done just that. And he started with defensive players, added skill players, and now they seem like they are positioned to be in that NCAA tournament every year.
Yeah, he's really gotten them, Mike, when you think about it, very quickly, where Rick Barnes had them not that long ago. Yep. And it took a while for Rick. It really did. There he is again. Look out, Oglesby. Not this time. McFarland with the rebound.
And he has really recruited North and South Carolina and doing it too, Tim.
Booker gets the steal. McFarland hit the deck. Contact was incidental.
That wasn't a great decision by Johnson, though, to put his big man in harm like that.
And Booker turns it over. Got airborne. Both teams turning it over. Ishmael Smith not there. And a reach-in foul. Could that be another reach-in by Booker? We'll see. Well, Florida State and
Clemson leading Wake Forest by 1 still very early here in Winston-Salem, and something to watch for Wake Forest in this ball game. I was at their shoot-around earlier today, and Dino Gaudio, when they went back through and they watched clips of the last Clemson game, the first 11 plays were all labeled with whatever the name of the play was. The next 25-plus clips, all they said next to him was assist. His theme for this game, get those passes out there. Find your teammates, he said. When we pass, that's when we're at our best, guys.
Unfortunately, some of his early passes have found orange jerseys.
Well, and that was the problem down in Littlejohn, too. They had 16 assists to 19 turnovers. Yeah. Not a great ratio, obviously. And of the 27 made baskets, 16 assisted, which is fair. But, clearly they've got to make, against this team, Clemson is a great defensive team from end line to free throw line. And they want to try to expose them once they're in the half court and run their plays.
Al-Farouq Amino, the outstanding freshman from Norcross, Georgia, has come in for Harvey Hale. That may not be the last we see of him. Of course, he's an outstanding shooter. He and Gary Clark, two designated three-point artists. Clemson has countered. Going to its bench. There's Rivers, a leaner in the lane. K.C. Rivers, the senior from Charlotte, North Carolina. Had a tough senior day himself at home. Ishmael Smith right back at the rim. Doesn't go down. And Andre Young comes out of there with it. The outstanding freshman.
When you play Ish Smith, you have to immediately convert to defense. So run it up your back, even on a made shot.
Tanner Smith does not get that one to fall. He just came in a moment ago. And the foul spotted. If that's Sykes, no, it's a turnover. He walked with it, Sykes. Sykes got a cheap foul going to break a moment ago that could have been given to Trevor Booker. Booker was actually fortunate he didn't get the foul. Williams splits the double team. And a pull-up.
Well, that's what you want to do. They talked about it in attacking the pressure of Clemson. You don't want to just get happy getting it over half court. You want to try to make scoring plays. L.D. Williams has been a little more aggressive lately, Tim, looking for his own shot. His field goal attempts have been up over the last 5 or 6 games. Many teams do in a screen roll situation with Sykes. They don't even play him. Everybody just going with Rivers.
Smith goes pick and roll. Sykes took an extra step. A little too unselfish, too. Why not take that shot? Tried to get it to Dre Grant.
Well, here's the play, and you can see really showing hard McFarland leaving him. And that's just, you know, you give a big guy that many options, chances are he's going to make a miscue with the basketball.
I mean, the shot was there. I know that's not necessarily his game, but he has played well, Mike, of late. I mean, he has had really good outings.
His last two, he's averaged 12 points, which is 4 over his average, 9 of 15 shooting.
Aminu. McFarland to follow. And Grant comes away with it for Clemson.
And it may take Aminu a little bit to get into this game. He's used to starting. He came off the bench with Harvey Hale's senior night, so a different rhythm for him in this game.
Andre Young, too strong. Out of bounds, last touch by Grant. And big number 55, Tony Woods, one of those huge bodies along that front line. There's so many of them that Dino Gaudio can turn to. He's the tough guy. And that one is too. Dino Gaudio. And by the way, he deserves some votes for Coach of the Year in this league. Remarkable season for him.
After a very, very trying and tumultuous year last year, he has put his stamp on this program.
Aminu is rejected by Booker. Good find. Williams to Woods.
Really nice interior passing, and it started with the poise of Aminu, who got his jump shot blocked, but was able to make a play afterward.
David Potter, the junior from Severn, Maryland, is also on the floor for Clemson. It's a very deep club, particularly in the perimeter. Nice work. Trevor Booker again. Just getting it right to the rack, playing above the rim. Ball was knocked away by Clemson, belongs to Wake Forest. James Johnson will re-enter the game for the Deeks. L.D. Williams sits down. So it's Ish Smith along with Aminu, James Johnson, Tony Woods, and Jeff Teague, the 5 on the floor now for Wake Forest. Teague and Potter. That one's always going to be called. That far from the basket, Carl Hess tags David Potter with the foul.
And it's Teague's speed that really picked up that foul. He knows that Potter can't match him in a foot race, so off the dribble, he just attacked him in that pressure and picked up the foul.
The much ballyhooed first game, as you'll recall, between these two, and Wake Forest made a statement, and they know. Got away with steps that time?
Got away with a little bit of a hop inside, but used a good pump fake to get that first defender off his feet.
Grant, count it, and a foul on Aminu. See if he gets the bunny hop working here.
Good lob over the top, really got some separation. A couple of times moving the feet inside.
Yeah.
He got Potter in a good way. He held it completely legally, a good catch. Just actually 2 or 3 little hops in there. What happens, Tim, in that situation, a lot of times the referees are looking up in the air at the ball and the pump fake and where the defender is and not down at his feet. This is a young man, Dre Grant, who is coming of age. He really had a terrific game against Virginia, their last home game. 10 points, 4 of 5 from the field. He's giving them a lot more offense.
Johnson, who's got such a good handle for a player of his size, gives it to Aminu. That was a late pass. Woods was not ready for it.
And Aminu had Oglesby in front of him. He would have been better served to get a shot up on the rim.
Ish Smith orchestrating things, which allows Teague to play off the ball. He's rejected by Booker. Trevor looks like he's going to have one of those nights.
Boy, hey, Tim, how about that? The foot speed to stay in front of a point guard and then the ability to block the shot.
Oglesby. And again, he picks up a foul, trying to go for the offensive rebound, running into Ish Smith. Well, again, early in the season, a tremendous road win for Virginia against the Yellow Jackets.
Virginia has come to Atlanta, and they have stunned the Yellow Jackets.
Earlier today in Greensboro, Marissa Coleman had 28 points and 15 rebounds, while her teammate Christy Tolliver added 24 as Maryland beat Duke. It took overtime, though, to get done to capture their first ACC title in 20 years. Congratulations to head coach Brenda Fries and the Terrapins, a 92-89 win. Just down the road. A little bit of basketball going on this time of year.
Just a bit.
This part of the country.
Just a bit. The excitement already starting to build. March Madness.
Second season is upon us as soon as this one is over. With a
bank shot buzzer beater by Alabama against Tennessee today.
How about that? Anthony Brock made that shot. It was amazing. Everyone gets new life when you get into the conference tournaments. There's Jeff Teague.
So tough. You have to honor the drive, Tim, and play off him a little bit. And he gets to that right hand, and it was in terrific rhythm for that jump shot.
Booker goes right at the chest of Woods. Grant lost it out of bounds.
And that was probably as easy an opportunity as he's going to see tonight, Tim. There was no double team for Booker. I think he was a little surprised by that. Got a couple of dribbles and had a terrific shot. Just couldn't get it to go down.
You know, in a lot of respects, Mike, Booker plays the position inside, back to the basket, the way Dwan Blair of Pittsburgh does. He's just not as big. He's not as wide. But he attacks the chest of the opposing defender as well as any undersized low post player in college basketball.
6'7", like I said, plays 7 feet. And Clemson right now, a little zone that got picked apart.
Woods, another one from point blank range. A good find by Smith.
Tony Woods, a very high percentage shooter, and why not with finishes like that? He's had a couple of dunks already.
Smith gets called for the bump. Ishmael Smith the foul. Wake has made 4 of their last 5 field goals.
We're just going to see it's just going to be penetration around here, and Woods is going to set up in the short corner inside. Nothing real sexy about it. But you get the screen at the top, and then Woods comes back. The back part of that zone completely fell asleep. Here's the thing, Timmy, that people don't understand. You can screen a zone just like you can screen man-to-man, and it's very effective.
But Dino Gaudio loves to change defenses. Sometimes you pay a price. Count the basket and the foul. DeMontez Stitt with an incredible scoop to the hoop.
Take a look at that, and he just split the defenders at the top. And anytime that happens, it's like a mini break below the free throw line. The defense of McFarland was really caught in no man's land right there.
First foul on Chase. Ishmael Smith has taken a seat. Amino L.D. Williams now has come back out onto the floor for Wake Forest. Stitt converts the three-point play. It's really an outstanding matchup of young guards. Stitt, Teague, Ishmael Smith. Fun to watch. Aminu trying with a ball fake, and he made himself small by putting it on the deck. A tie ball. Nice work by Potter. The arrow is to Wake. They retain possession.
And that's why I don't like the arrow. I mean, this is great defense right here, and you don't even get a chance to get rewarded for it. I understand you get a change of possession in the next go around, but why not have a jump ball in that situation?
Well, we're going to have a chance to chat with John Adams, who's in charge, took over for Hank Nichols. The NCAA is with officiating, and I think there are some rules that could stand another look-see. That may be one of them.
Well, and the one that the referees consistently talk about is the block charge arc inside the lane that the NBA has, and it would make their life a lot easier and make that call a lot more definitive.
Johnson.
Well, right now the zone isn't doing much for Clemson. Wake Forest getting shots at the front of the rim.
Oliver Purnell a little upset with his defense, giving it to Sykes right now as they go to the huddle, taking that timeout. Well, time now for our winning touch flashback, brought to you by Touch of Gray from Just for Men. When these teams met on January 17th at Littlejohn, both were undefeated. Number 2 Wake 15-0, number 10 Clemson 16-0. The Demon Deacons held a 14-point lead with a little over 9 minutes remaining, but the Tigers used a 16-3 run to pull to within 1. That's when Jeff Teague, Al Farouk Camino, and James Johnson took the game in their hands and coasted to a 10-point win, 78-68, setting a school record for their best start ever at 16-0. Teague led all scorers with 24. This winning touch flashback brought to you by Touch of Gray from Just for Men.
I think that win and the home win against North Carolina probably the most impressive wins for Wake Forest this year as far as defining moments for them. But to go on the road in that situation down in Littlejohn, an incredibly tough place to play, is a terrific win.
Stitt is rejected by Aminu. And the other thing too, Mike, they were backing up the victory against North Carolina when they won on the road at Clemson.
Yeah, and again, a split of a screen right now, but this is what Al-Farouq Aminu does. He can really clean mistakes up inside and a very good shot blocking front line.
Rivers all the way to the glass. That's too easy.
Well, he's a left-handed player, and you can get to that hand. He is really strong, and Teague just got caught up that time and then gave him the lane.
There's the quick trap. Williams, nice find to Aminu. Nice find by L.D. Williams. A head on a swivel looking for the big man cutting through the painted area.
And that's been their MO all season long, just dominating the paint.
Wow! Stitt was a blur.
And then right now, Ish Smith getting back into the game. Dino Gaudio doesn't like his on-the-ball defense at Clemson getting to the rim off the dribble.
Now the pace of the game is absolutely incredible. Forget the 45s. We're running at 78 RPMs, and Dino is like, all right, I know we're quick, but we can slow it down just a little. Trevor Booker back on the deck along with Stitt, Sykes, Potter, and Oglesby for Clemson.
Jeff Teague and Dino Gaudio having a little extra conversation after he was subbed for. L.D. Williams has been given the task of keeping Oglesby at bay, that longer cover.
Oglesby can put it on the deck.
So that's what you want to make him do. You want to take away the three-point shot and make him a two-point shooter or a driver.
Aminu, yes, and a foul.
Well, after not starting, and there's the guy who started in his place, Harvey Hale, but Al-Farouq Aminu starting to find his rhythm in this game, coming off the bench a little bit odd for him, but really nice patience on that play to let him get in a position where he only had to put the ball on the floor once.
Let's go over to Jen Hildreth. Jen?
Well, Tim, I don't know if you guys could see from your angle over there, but after that play, I'm not sure my eyes deceived me, but Al-Farouq Aminu actually pounded his chest. I mean, this is a guy whose facial expression pretty much never changes in the game, so I think he certainly is trying to add a little bit of extra fire into this game.
I think there have been times when he has been invisible in big game environments. I think most notably the game against Duke. If he had really given his usual numbers, Wake Forest might have had an opportunity to win that game. I think that when you're this young and you're going through the first season, some would say it's the last game, so you're no longer a freshman. But Mike, I think that fire, that enthusiasm from him does impact his play.
Well, and it's still a series of firsts, because next week in Atlanta is going to be his first tournament, and then the following week is going to be his first NCAA tournament. So there's new things keep coming at you, but he has been fairly consistent throughout this year, and he has really done a nice job of blending in with his team.
Demon Deacons have made their last 5 field goals from the floor, and they extended their lead to 4. Dino Gaudio not at all pleased with that foul. It will go against Ish Smith. 5 team fouls against the Deacons as Andre Young checks in for DeMonte Stitt. Nice find. Well done as Grant took it right to the rack. Chase McFarland had nothing to do but foul him to keep him from getting the easy one.
And that was good patience coming from the inside. You see a little pick-the-picker and a miscommunication by Wake Forest.
They got Johnson instead of McFarland. I beg your pardon. Pretty good foul, though. Put Grant at the free throw line, make him earn it.
65% on the year, not bad.
Tell you, he could be a real catalyst, Mike, if they can get any offense at all from him. He already gives them quality defensive minutes to Ray Grant. Clemson becomes much more formidable because any help that Trevor Booker can get on the block, he'll take.
Yeah, and you know, James Mays was his counterpoint last year, and they haven't found a scorer of that ilk yet, but I think Grant can blossom into that. We talked about he's coming off a double-figure game, and in the first game against Wake Forest, he had 9 rebounds, 7 of those offensive, so he's very active on the glass.
Here's Smith operating at the point, working on Casey Rivers. He was out of bounds. Just lost sight of where he was on the floor. Plenty of emotion on this senior night as they prepare for the second season, which is just around the corner. First things first, though, we've got to solve the regular season. Teague rattles it home. Up high, how about the pass?
This could be a defining moment for this team in this year.
G-Man, I think we all agree it really was a defining moment for this Wake Forest team. 17 years Dino Gaudio worked alongside Skip Prosser. In that first season, while successful, it was very difficult for him to put his signature on this team. I believe he's done that, effectively done that this year.
It was a healing year,
yeah.
and this year has been, all right, this is now my program, my team, let's move forward, and he has put his stamp on it, most notably on the defensive end of the floor.
Booker is fouled by McFarland. We'll talk about the coaching timeline for him. Was hired in August. And what a wonderful hire it was, and really probably the only hire you could make. And I think, though, at the time, given what had happened to him in his career as a head coach at Army, you didn't know. You really weren't sure. I mean, in terms of whether he could handle this kind of stage, and boy, has he delivered the goods.
It wasn't about the record, Tim, and I think Ron Wellman, the outstanding AD here at Wake Forest, made the absolute right decision that this team needed that man right there as their head coach for that year, and I think he has shown that now he can sit in that seat comfortably and take on the rigors of the ACC.
Teague end to end. Offensive foul. Wave it off. And Mike, there's an illustration of what the officials say oftentimes about needing that arc.
Well, and that's right there. I mean, he steps in. That's a good play. And Jere Grant is not a shot blocker, but he took the right on the chest. And Teague, I think, just a little over exuberant, looking for his own offense on that play.
Yep.
It's one thing in the open floor when you've got room and you can see you've got space, but there were a lot of orange jerseys between him and the basket on that play.
It's been an indifferent game for Jeff Teague so far. Andre Young left alone. Rebound to Ish Smith. Teague needs something good to happen. So far, very little has. Andre Young end-to-end to Smith.
Well, and that time Teague just kind of waved at Young and gave up 2 points on the other end. And interesting, Teague really looking for his own offense the last couple of possessions and then giving up a play down on the other end.
Tigers have clawed their way to the lead. Williams leans in. Booker, the rebound. Clemson looks to be the more confident team right now, up by 1.
Well, it's not for want of getting opportunities. Wake has missed some point-blank plays. That's a shot that you need to go down.
Rivers off the bounce. This is now an 8-0 run for Clemson, and they lead by 4.
We talked about perimeter production for this team. Wake Forest not built around the three-point shot.
Potter tied him up. Clemson, the more confident team, doing what they want on the defensive end, and the possession arrow is to Clemson.
Well, this is Clemson basketball. They want to shoot the three. They want to get you in a hurry-up style, and they want to clamp you in the corners with their press. That's just Potter and Tanner Smith really do a terrific job in this press defense, and that was a very well executed double team.
This is a classic Oliver Purnell made team. Lots of depth in the backcourt. Andre Young with a ball fake, gives it up to Rivers, who's feeling it. He is feeling it. A nylon song for KC.
Well, that's it. That's the double team of Booker and then the kick out and the play around. And it's exactly what Oliver Purnell wanted to see.
An 11-0 run now. Teague pumps. Now, the good news for Wake Forest is if he makes one, then that cylinder grows a bit larger.
That was a huge shot, a huge confidence builder.
And you see the run for the Tigers. That was the first 3 ball for Wake Forest in the game so far. Rivers, the answer, he is absolutely on fire. The senior from nearby Charlotte, Oak Hill Academy. KC Rivers, there's a steal. Smith got his hand in there, and Andre Young has it again. Looks for Tanner, who finds Booker. Clemson really taking control.
Wow, that was a terrific play by Tanner Smith, running it down from behind, which is what Clemson does.
End-to-end McFarland tries to put it back and does. Tanner Smith posting up on Teague. Here's Rivers again. Johnson comes over to shade him this time.
Different player when you make him go right. Good defense.
Booker. Aminu gets the rebound. Both teams love this pace, and it is entertaining, isn't it? How much fun is this?
Ryan, I love Smith. I mean, he's really perfected that little floater in the lane. He was going diagonally to the basket. Not in any danger of picking up a charge.
Now the fans respond for Wake Forest. Timeout, Clemson. Let's take a look at a Best Buy Best Connection. Ish Smith, actually Tanner Smith finding Booker for Clemson here.
Here's the play, and getting out in the open floor, and a nice little left-handed one-hand pass. And this is where Booker can really shine, Tim. If he gets out on the open floor, he doesn't have to worry about all those big bodies having to bang against him in the half court.
You know, you talked to Oliver Purnell about Tanner Smith, one of the youngsters on this club out of Alpharetta, Georgia. He'll tell you that he's the ultimate glue guy. And we've seen illustrations of the Tigers going to their bench, Mike, and getting production. This young man's having a great time. He's talking to Leslie Jones. So this is fun.
Well, and the thing with him that has been impressive to the coaching staff is how quickly they picked that Tanner Smith picked up their pressure defense. He's got a very high basketball IQ.
And working on KC Rivers' oral cavity, I think he may have had a problem getting bumped in the chops, checking some of his teeth.
Just as long as it's not his left hand, he's going to be fine.
Oh, what a scoop to the hoop. A ball fake, and then a little up and under move. Smith all the way, and he's going to get fouled. This one will go against David Potter.
Boy, and he is so hard to double team. I thought he was trapped over in the corner in the front court, but was just able to split it and get out in the open floor.
3 fouls on David Potter. That means Oglesby will have to re-enter the game for the Tigers. L.D. Williams was also at the scorer's table looking to come in for Wake Forest. Potter sits for Clemson. James Johnson goes to the Pine for Wake Forest. We thought this would be entertaining, partner, and it has been.
Now, the pace of the game and just as fast as Wake Forest is, and the way that Clemson wants to speed you up with the press, it just has fallen into a very natural rhythm. Clemson shredding a very good Wake Forest defense. They've made their last 6 field goals in a row. L.D. Williams really sticking with Oglesby, not giving him any room at all.
Shot clock at 3 for Stitt. And he nails it.
Well, that's a big play, Tim. You know, with Dre Grant and Sykes out there, you don't have a great post player, so Wake Forest can really stay at home on the perimeter. But that was a terrific shot at the end of the clock.
Mike, I think at halftime, regardless of what kind of run the Demon Deacons make, Dino Gaudio is going to give his team the once-over about defense. They have been outplayed on that end of the floor. And another bump. Well, I believe in many respects the season began, not just in the ACC, but around the country, when we found out that North Carolina was not invincible. Thank you, BC.
Rice splits the defense and buries the dude. Got a clear path. Can Sanders catch up? And he does! Boston College has upset the #1 team in the country.
Clemson leading by 8 points, and a lot of it has to do with their senior perimeter player, K.C. Rivers, having an outstanding game. He's perfect from the field, 5 of 5, a couple of shots from downtown. The interesting thing, Tim, with him, he shoots much better on the road, 51% from the floor, 48 from 3, as opposed to at home, 42%, 34 from behind the arc.
He's checking his dental work right now, but Jen Hildreth has more, right, Jen?
Well, Tim, an interesting story. You know, K.C. Rivers was actually offered a scholarship to come to Wake Forest as a junior in high school by Skip Prosser. And I said, how close were you to actually coming here? And he said, I was a day away. They wanted him to commit right then and there. He wasn't quite ready to do it. He wanted to talk to his uncle first, and his uncle wasn't around. So he said, you know what? If they'd been a little more patient, I probably would have been a Demon Deacon. But no offense toward Wake Forest. He's obviously been very happy with his career at Clemson. He said it's been the best 4 years of my life, and I'd say he's adding to those good times so far tonight.
Yeah, he's done really everything that's been asked of him as the anchor really for this this team that Oliver Purnell has put together.
Might have to find out if the uncle was a Clemson grad.
We'll put her to work on that. Off the ball, we've got another whistle.
That play tough to develop because they're just playing completely off David Weaver out on the perimeter, dropping right back into the lap of Al-Farouq Aminu. Grant really didn't have to make that foul. He had plenty of help.
First foul on Jure. Clemson with a 21-8 run, seizing control of this game. And Mike, as I said, I think, you know, the real problem for Dino Gaudio coming into this season was making sure his guys played more consistently on the defensive end. And I think one of the reasons they've been a top 10 team all year is they have improved in that area. But tonight, Clemson's defense has something to do with it, but there have been some easy chances given up by Wake.
Clemson shooting 58%, Tim, and you don't want a team waltzing into your building and feel comfortable. Not a lot of assists, but Clemson doing a lot of damage off the dribble.
Really driving and spreading and getting this close to the 10 like that.
See, even against a matchup zone, that can't happen. And that's exactly what did. It's got to be frustrating for the Wake Forest coaching staff.
Does not fall for Gary Clark just into the game. The sharp shooter for this Wake Forest team. Been getting more minutes the second half of the season. More minutes than Harvey Hale, really. Rivers has been unstoppable. Booker trying to set the pick for him. And he rolls down to the blocks where he's doubled. Stitt with 10 on the shot clock. Look at Booker get in there and make a play. Out of bounds, last touch by Grant. But boy, he's perpetual motion.
Right, and rebounding is mostly hard work, Tim. And you have to believe, especially as an offensive rebounder, you have to believe that every shot's going to miss and that every miss is going to be taken by you. And he just faked out Weaver. That's just effort in trying to work your way into the front of the rim.
Consummate college post player. Clark lost the dribble.
Again, Tanner Smith chasing the play down from behind. If you're Wake Forest, you have to be aware that that guy, the pursuit, is going to come from behind.
He does get the foul, his second. On Wednesday, 10 teams will begin their quest to win the Pac-10 championship. Earn an automatic bid to the NCAA tournament. Our exclusive coverage of the Pacific Life Pac-10 men's basketball tournament begins on Wednesday.
And our congratulations to Lorenzo Romar, who's had a fine season with the Washington Huskies.
Doesn't hurt when you've got really good guards.
and some pretty good bigs.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes the game a lot easier, I'd say. Do you think players have anything to do with how well a team?
Well, the first outright title in the Pac-10 for Washington since 1953.
Yep. And a couple-year drought in the NCAA tournament, but we had him a number of years ago, but right back there again.
Yeah, he had Nate the Skate Robinson. He had
Brandon
King
Roy.
Kryptonite.
Brandon
Roy. There's the story in the painted area. Booker over Weaver. Out of bounds to Clemson. Fresh clock coming their way. DeMontez Stitt will trigger it in. Booker, Oglesby, Rivers, and Grant. The five on the floor for Clemson. Joining up with DeMontez Stitt. There again, the drive to the basket. Yes, and a foul. Oh, how about the English that he put on the rotation with that shot, and a marvelous move to boot.
Well, just going left and then coming back underneath Weaver to finish that way. It's a tremendous extension, and again, Clemson off of the dribble, getting to the rim whenever they want to against Wake Forest.
Oh, a very kind lingering iron. And then the brick on the free throw. Johnson with it up down to Aminu. And a reach-in foul goes against Tanner Smith again. Well, coming up on the ACC Sunday Night Hoops halftime show, the final score hosted by our friend Andrew Siciliano with highlights from ACC Hoops, including, of course, the Duke North Carolina game. And the announcement we've all been waiting for, G-Man's All-ACC team. And the Rookie of the Year. That's in a few minutes on the ACC Sunday Night Hoops halftime show. That may be one of the biggest plugs I've ever given for halftime. I did it with feeling.
Certainly for me.
Yeah.
I usually take a break at halftime. I got to put to work here. I don't know what's going on. Things are breaking down.
I don't know how you're going to manage to get five guys in. You're going to anger probably 60% of the league.
Yeah, and then
you realize
exactly.
that.
And there are five other guys who are probably deserving as well.
Clemson leads it by 8.
I'm just focused in on L.D. Williams, and he's got to be one of the better defenders in the league. He has just done a terrific job on Oglesby. Oglesby 1 of 5, 1 of 4 from downtown. It has been a tough night for him. Despite that, the Tigers are up by 8.
Stitt needs some help. This is going to be a turnover. Johnson back to Smith.
Clemson has to be careful that all their good work in the first half doesn't evaporate here in the last minute.
Yep. They've dominated play, they really have, but in the last couple of minutes, they could give up a lot of momentum if Wake Forest gets another bucket. There's Grant on the offensive glass. Weaver clears it. Plenty of time here. Johnson carried it. He walked. Had the ball on his hip. Not the play you wanted.
Well, and we talked about it. James Johnson has a very good handle, but you had a big and Weaver giving it up to another big on a break, and you've got to get it to your primary ball handlers. Yes. And he's looking to make a play, and he gets it hung up on his hip. That's a good call by Carl Hess.
It could be a 4 or 5 point swing, too. Stitt launches. Aminu gets it still. Plenty of time. End-to-end. Weaver to Smith. Aminu! Ho-ho! What a way to close the half. And you know, the behind-the-back maneuver was justified.
And I think Dino Gaudio closed his eyes on that one. Again, you're big trying to make that play, but that was a huge 1-minute run for Wake Forest to cut into that lead and get momentum going into the half.
But you know what? It was the pass to make in that situation. It was. In a few minutes, we'll reveal G-Man's All-ACC team. You're watching ACC Sunday Night Hoops, presented by Pizza Hut. 44-40, Clemson with the lead. And moments ago, Jen Hildreth had an opportunity to chat with some coaches. Jen, what did you find out?
That's right, Tim. I talked to both coaches. You know, Oliver Purnell pretty happy so far with what his team's been doing. He said we just need to continue to fight, get the ball inside. We weren't doing that early. We were doing a better job of it later in the half, although then we had some turnover problems. So clearly that was an issue for him. And for Dino Gaudio, well, the offensive numbers not too bad. Better field goal percentage, more rebounds. But he said we've got to do a better job of guarding the ball and working through those ball screens.
Johnson off the pass from Aminu. Well done. Rivers picked up that quick foul, his first. And KC launches on the other end and makes it look easy. A 3-ball.
It's going to be interesting to see who wins that matchup because Rivers has the advantage out on the perimeter, but Aminu has got the advantage in posting him up inside.
Teague, nice delivery into Aminu. He had an indifferent start to Jeff Teague. Had a very up and down first half. We'll see if he gets his motor running early here in the second.
And he needs to pick things up on the defensive end, Tim. I think that's where Dino Gaudio had his issues with Jeff Teague in the first half. He took him out at one point because he was getting broken down off the dribble.
Nice defensive work there. Just a pickpocket of DeMontez Stitt.
Much better job moving his feet and staying in front.
Booker got in the way and deflected that one away from McFarland as you look at our Pizza Hut scoring leaders.
If there was one issue for Wake Forest, a number that Dino Gaudio didn't like besides the 50% shooting by Clemson, it was the 10 turnovers that his team had. Look casual with the ball, and they start off with another one there.
Rivers, the step back three. Beautiful.
I'm just amazed at the difference in the numbers and how well he shoots on the road. He has not missed in this game.
No. It's unbelievable. And the push. Teague was out of bounds. Just, again, lost control of where he was. I think Dino Gaudio felt he was pushed.
And that was all Raymond Sykes just getting out there so long in the double team and jumping out, forcing Teague to run out of real estate.
Rivers, for the record, is now 7 of 7, Mike. 4 of 4 from downtown.
And that's the area where Clemson can build up an advantage. Wake Forest, not a big three-point shooting team.
Mix up that time between Stitt and Rivers.
Here you see the strong hedge by Sykes, and he was out before the contact.
Yeah.
But because of Sykes is so aggressive that Teague, because he continued to dribble, ran out of real estate.
Johnson. Very strong move by James Johnson, sophomore black belt from Cheyenne, Wyoming.
And really has taken the three-point shot out of his game for the most part this year and is concentrated on getting into the lane. And he has been terrific in that regard.
His decision-making, Mike, was much better this year than it was a season ago. His judgment on what a good shot really is. Shot clock at 10. Stitt. A baseline drive reversal. Blowing right by Teague again.
Boy, DeMontez Stitt has been aggressive in this game.
Teague drains it.
You know, the guy with the basketball is pretty important. You can't leave, especially as good a three-point shooter as Jeff Teague is.
Stitt again. Giving it up. Will it be 8 for 8? No, off the front iron. First miss for KC Rivers. Johnson has his pocket picked by Rivers.
You cannot dribble the ball that long against Clemson. You're too good in pursuit.
3-on-1. Booker! Book that! Take that! Wow! Oh my goodness.
Just an incredible wingspan. And here's the play from behind. KC Rivers doing a terrific job in pursuit. And then the senior making the nice play. You don't want to let your big put any ball on the floor. He gave it to him, waited that extra count. And Booker with the big-time finish.
Man, I mean, that's explosive, isn't it? Every now and then you'll see a few plays made by guys, and the wow factor is always there. And that was an illustration. Stitt picked up that foul, by the way, his second. Teague on a blow-by is going to be fouled. If that's Potter, that's a fourth.
Well, that's going to be, Oliver Purnell talks about the cumulative effect of his pressure full court. And I've started to see a lot of guys on both sides grabbing their shorts during dead ball situations. And there's still 16-plus minutes to go in this game.
Tanner Smith comes back out onto the floor. Oglesby sits down. That was the fourth foul. As I mentioned earlier, nice move. Johnson again. That was the fourth foul on Potter. Jerry Grant again. Layups and dunks. It's almost as if, Mike, rather than getting a quality defensive play, there's Weaver rejected by Grant out of bounds to Wake Forest. A defender gets beat and decides, I'll take matters into my own hand on the offensive end.
There's the play, and this is actually sloppy transition by both teams. Grant got lost down at the other end, and Weaver almost got behind everybody else for a dunk on that play.
Teague.
Oh, see, that is way too easy. You got a player at the stature of Teague, and Dino Gaudio after that play,
and he's using L.D. Williams as his illustration. But how about this? Watch the feed and the launch. Olay, 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 olay. Just over 4 minutes gone here in Winston-Salem, a 2-point lead for Clemson. Mike, we've talked about Oliver Purnell, how quickly he's been able to accomplish so many of his goals. And the competition's been tougher. He's been scheduling much tougher non-conference games this year as well.
No, it's scheduling up, and people don't have an appreciation for how hard it is to crack into the upper third of the ACC, and he has done that, and he has been very consistent over his last 3 years. And there you see the first back-to-back winning ACC season since the mid-'60s.
Yeah, and that says a lot, too, because Cliff Ellis had success. That's an over and back against Andre Young. Cliff Ellis had a lot of success at Clemson. Rick Barnes had plenty, but sustaining it within the league, the confines of the league, something they were not able to accomplish. Got a timeout. Just over 4 minutes gone by, and the Tigers lead it by 2. Oopsie daisy. Let's take a moment for the HTC Fuse timeout. The HTC Fuse has full internet, which allows access to foxsports.com for scores and highlights. Grab a video highlight from tonight's game and share it live during calls. The HTC Fuse. Experience the reaction.
And I'll go back to 2 timeouts ago where Dino Gaudio got in his team's face, and that was not about offense, Tim, because it was after a made 3 by Jeff Teague. That was about defense.
Yes.
And getting his team to focus, because Clemson had run it up their back a couple times after made scores.
And you see Teague and Johnson scored 12 of Wake's last 14 in this half.
Well, your stars are going to eventually show up. That normally happens. And James Johnson had been on a tear as of a couple of weeks ago. And he and Teague trying to not lose this last home game of the regular season.
Lawrence Joel Coliseum, Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Another slam dunk. This one from Weaver off the feed from L.D. Williams.
And that zone for Clemson has not been effective at all. It's been a couple of passes, and Wake Forest has gotten a dunk.
A 10-4 Wake run has tied this one at 56.
Not a lot of touches for Trevor Booker in this half, Tim.
Weaver fronting him now. The shot clock winding down on Rivers. He gives it up to Oglesby. Grant gives it up to Andre Young. It's bailed out by the foul. And it'll go against Teague. Let's go over to Jen Hilder.
Well, Tim, listening on both huddles the last couple of timeouts there. Wake Forest, they got their job done for the first part. They need to get 1, 2, 3 consecutive stops on defense. That's really been their focus on the defensive end in this half. And then for Clemson, they talked about really moving the ball around at shoot-around today. Associate head coach Ron Bradley talked about making Wake Forest move in and out like an accordion. Now, he told me later he wasn't sure the guys actually knew what an accordion was because it's so old-fashioned, but you get the idea.
Yes, I do. He would know Myron Florin. The players would not. There's Ron, a really good guy. One of the best assistants in the business. These are two great staffs. Frank Smith, Josh Bostorino, part of the Oliver Purnell staff. And of course, Pat Kelsey, Jeff Battle, and Mike Muse. A wonderful job for Wake. If he had said accordion to you back in, say, 1980 when you were playing, would you have known what an accordion was?
Yes, I would have thought it was an odd analogy on a basketball court, but I would have understood.
57-56. Players made fun of it too, by the way. Pull it back at you, Coach Bradley. That's a walk against Johnson.
You know, it's funny when big players get called more for that than guards because it just looks like they walk, and they're not accustomed to handling that far out.
Let's see if Booker can get a touch, Mike. They're trying to work that pick and pop, but Wake is having none of it. Pretty good show by them.
He's open now.
Yep, there's the pop. He turned it down and gave it up to Rivers, and he walks. A little disjointed, the Clemson offense in the last few sequences. It looks like Dino Gaudio got done what he needed.
They're trying to get Booker out in space a little bit and free him up, but they're really doing a nice job of sitting on his left hand, so he can't really drive to the rim.
Looks like the lessons learned during those timeouts were felt by Wake Forest. Aminu popping out.
But see, when you have L.D. Williams as the guy who's making the entry pass, you can play completely off him. They're just sitting back. They know that Rivers is having a tough time with Aminu, but they're just sitting up in his lap, making that guy who's making the pass take a jump shot.
Teague splits the double team on the blow by and finds Johnson. They're on their feet at Lawrence Joel Coliseum.
Now let's see how Clemson responds to a deficit.
There's another steal. Johnson end-to-end with the left hand.
It would take somebody with pretty big guts to stand up in front of Johnson. He's a runaway train going to the rim. Timmy, it's just too much dribbling by Clemson on that possession. Tanner Smith over dribbling and good pursuit. He's a very good defender in L.D. Williams. And here is that runaway freight train coming right at you. And he did a great job to get out of the way of DeMonte Smith. Wake Forest is perfect from the field in this half, 9 of 9.
Well, beginning on April 11th, Fox Saturday Baseball returns to bring you a full season of the game's greatest matchups. Red Sox, Yankees, Cardinals, Cubs, Phillies, Mets, Dodgers, Giants. Catch all the excitement of Fox Saturday Baseball's game of the week. Beginning April 11th, only on Fox. Well, let's see how Clemson responds after Purnell was forced to take that timeout. Now, you mentioned it a few moments ago, Mike. You were right on top of it. Trevor Booker's not gotten a touch in a long, long while. Nice drive by Sticks.
That's been the staple of their offense. It's the perimeter guards getting the ball off the dribble and off the bounce and being able to get inside.
Well, the Wake guards have just been beaten off the Clemson dribble. No question about it. Teague has answered with offense. but he's not stopped anyone defensively.
And right now, David Weaver might as well be playing in the gym by himself. They're completely off him.
Oh, Johnson again. He is special. Clemson.
Timmy, he went on a stretch 3 games ago where he was averaging 26 and 13, so he is capable of monster numbers.
Stitt having a career night is blocked by Teague. Got a foul prior, and it will go against Jeff. That's his 4th. Hey, and he's a bit too demonstrative right now. He better be careful. He could get lit up with a technical. Dino Gaudio's getting him off the floor, and I think that's a wise choice. Stitt, by the way, has 19 tonight. That's a career high. A previous high for him was 18. And he has absolutely outplayed Jeff Teague tonight.
Well, and that's not an anomaly either, because in the first game, Tim, he had 13 points. So clearly something about Wake Forest that brings out the best in DeMontez Stitt. A couple of double-figure games for him.
Number 12, Raymond Sykes. Number 5, Tanner Smith.
He's a special player, Teague, but he relies heavily on his offensive expertise. And I think that tonight, Dino Gaudio's having to manage him quite a bit. As you see, Weaver, his defense was appreciated. He's helped keep the ball away from Trevor Booker. Chase McFarland back on the floor now for Wake.
Those are 2 big bodies that Booker has had to contend with.
Smith trapping again, may have led to a turnover. It did.
Tough to see from that angle. Dino Gaudio imploring the other referees to come up and help him. It didn't look like anybody else touched it. It looked like it came out of Smith's hands.
It definitely should be Wake's ball, no question. Stitt gets it in. Sykes was not ready for that laser beam that was coming his way. Wake Forest gets it back. Smith looking for and finding Aminu. Will he go high-low? He can't. McFarland really wants it. L.D. Williams drives and pulls up. Johnson again, rejected this time. Sykes got a hand in there. Here's Stitt. Good job of not turning it over that time.
Well, you can fumble it and pick it up, which is what he did, and got the pass off.
Sykes sets the pick. Potter. Count it. A 3 ball for David Potter.
Big shot. Not a huge part of his offense, but 40% from beyond the arc.
And Potter. Sykes picks up the foul on the reach in. Well, Wake had their first miss of the half a moment ago. Here is James Johnson. Another JJ payday. Clemson by 2.
Clemson ahead 64-62, but Wake getting back into this game with their top 3 scorers. Al-Farouq Aminu getting open on penetration with the finished dunk inside. He has come alive after not starting. Jeff Teague, the wide open 3. He's been terrific. And then James Johnson has just owned the inside against Clemson, either off the glass or off the dribble, Tim.
He's 8 out of 9 for 16. Look at this second half surge. Teague still sits, but Johnson has a lot to do with that. But 16 points in the paint.
But frankly, Tim, and that's the highlights are offense, but Dino Gaudio is talking about defense. He needs his team to get stops right now. Frankly, scoring the basketball has never been an issue for Wake Forest.
Harvey Hale has come back out onto the floor, one of the seniors being honored tonight. Smith working on Stitt. We'll be mentioning that matchup for a few more years in this league. Aminu, yes, and a foul. Johnson got the job done, feeding to number 1.
Well, that was a terrific decision. Lane's cut down off of the dribble for him, and he saw that he had a smaller player on his back, really had Tanner Smith in a bad way. Sometimes those 3-4 foot passes are very difficult to connect with, Tim, but that was well done.
Wake Forest by 1. McFarland into the passing lane, knocking it away. This is what you're going to be seeing a lot more of, Mike, as we get into the postseason. This kind of effort being expended.
Well, Chase McFarland, he's so long at 7'1", able to get around, deflect the pass, giving his body up.
I was asked the other day, what's the greatest thing about college basketball's postseason? And I really believe this. It's the energy and effort expended on every possession. Stick, another blow by. Kick out for Potter. McFarland the rebound.
One thing that Wake has cleaned up in this game as opposed to the first one, not a lot of offensive rebounds for Clemson.
Boy, high arching off the glass by Ish Smith. Wake by 3. Oglesby, nice find inside to Potter.
Boy, that was a terrific look inside, and Potter seems to be the forgotten man offensively. He's gotten some good looks. Good extra pass and unselfishness by Oglesby.
McFarland working it on Booker. No help coming. Well, there is some from Rivers. Nice adjustment by McFarland, showing his dexterity.
Yeah, and he turned away from the double team and finished with his offhand. Pretty nice move.
Ten minutes left. Rivers for 3. Johnson clears. Here's Smith. Has room. Navigates onto the wing for Hale. Not there. Aminu fighting for the rebound. Picked up the offensive foul. Heady work that time by Rivers to come away with that player control foul going the other way.
Well, that ball missed so badly it went right to Aminu, and that little duck of the shoulder and move, that's what picks up the foul. You can make an argument there was contact with Potter before that, and I think that's what the crowd was looking for. But anytime you duck and lower the shoulder, they're going to make that call.
Yeah, especially when that elbow is flying.
It's just been an all-out front of Booker on the post, either Weaver or McFarland.
He wills that one to the rim. Not there. Stays with it and walks. Oliver Purnell will turn to Tanner Smith quickly, get him onto the floor, and James Johnson returns for Wake Forest. You know, both of these teams, Mike, as all really good teams do, have had their moments where they were absolutely playing so well and see quick timeout by Williams, but they've gotten through their lows, gone through those valleys, and have begun to play again at a high level, and that's what these coaches are trying to get as they head for postseason.
And it'll be interesting to see how that translates and carries over down in Atlanta next week. I know we're looking about, all the tournaments, all the postseason tournaments starting, but here is the bracket just about all figured out except for the 2 and the 3 hole.
That will be determined based on what happens tonight. A Wake Forest win.
I'll tell you the one it could be intriguing is the Clemson-Georgia Tech. How much does the hometown factor play? And Tech's had a disappointing season, but a chance at redemption here.
And of course, Maryland will have another opportunity against a quality opponent if they can win their first round game. And that's something Gary Williams really needs to get off the bubble and into the NCAA tournament. And for Tyler Hansbrough, he'll go into the tournament, needs 52 now to tie J.J. Redick as the ACC's all-time leader.
Just mind-boggling numbers when you think about it, and more than anything, the consistency from freshman year to senior year.
And again, a reminder: a Wake Forest win and they're the 2 seed. Duke would be the 3. Clemson wins, it's the opposite. Duke would be the 2, Wake the 3. And the bump will go against Raymond Sykes. That's number 3 on Sykes. And again, a reminder, time permitting, we're hopeful that Leonard Hamilton will be able to join us in our post-game festivities tonight. We'll be talking about the upcoming ACC tournament and the NCAAs coming up. With the man that's likely to be named, there certainly would be a strong candidate to be ACC Coach of the Year.
Dino Gaudio certainly in that conversation as well.
That was supposed to be an alley-oop by Smith. Almost went in.
An alley-oop to the rim.
Yeah. Alley-oop unkind. Rivers again. McFarland.
I think Dre Grant's going to get picked up for the foul.
Right, and you know, the presence of Chase McFarland has been immense in the last 5 minutes of this game.
It's amazing in the interior when there's a whistle, Chase McFarland is not very far from it on either end.
No, he's not.
He's right in the middle of it.
But you know, he has done a much better job tonight, Mike, of being aggressive and not picking up cheap fouls.
And it's good to see him out on the floor. He left the game up in Maryland with a bit of a knee injury. Only played 8 minutes in that game.
Jen has more on Chase. Jen?
Just noticing, guys, that you talk about the energy McFarland's playing with, or how many times is that energy have we seen in the past kind of translated into, over, you call it chippiness, Tim? You know, he has that problem in his past, but Chase told me this is something he's really worked on being more under control this year. You know, even on some calls he felt didn't go his way, when he hit the deck, I saw him just kind of bite his lip and get up and stay under control.
Yeah, well, we're in that time of the year when chippiness can get you back on the campus without a game to play. It's one and done after this. You go into the ACC tournament, you lose, you get on a bus and go home. You lose the next time around, you get on a bus and stay home. A 9-2 run for Wake. Shot clock at 3. Rivers. The prayer is answered by the lefty.
Well, he's been terrific in this game. We documented how well he shoots away from home, and L.D. Williams, that's about as good defensively as you can play him.
Johnson answers with a tray. Boy, he has been incredible. Johnson. $15 for him. In this half, Johnson has 15 points. It's a big, big night. Stick for 3. Booker kept it alive. Oglesby a runner. Sykes and McFarland. And Sykes is going to be tagged. How about this prayer, Mike?
Terrific defense, but better offense. The batter won that duel.
Sykes just picked up his 4th foul. Will return in a moment. And it's Tyrese Rice. He loves the open floor. Good look to Sanders. Reggie Jackson runs it down. He has Rice with him. He'll take it himself. And here they come into the middle of Conti Forum. One of the many great moments of our ACC Sunday Night Hoops this year, and here's a little bit more of the entertainment that we're getting. You got to cut the grass, you got to do a little swimming, the whole bit. Water the lawn.
There's a very good dancer under all of that somewhere.
We're very, very fortunate to be entertained like this each and every Sunday, and it is our pleasure to bring it to you. That victory, by the way, the one that Boston College got against Duke, Mike, was one of the first times ever the sports editor of the Boston Globe called me after that win by BC and said, you know what, that was as important a win for this college as they've seen in in basketball since they've come into the ACC.
And when we've called out the press up there about the lack of recognition, I mean, you can't go up there on game day and see any sort of game day stories about BC. And all Al Skinner does is get his team into the postseason.
To the sports editor's credit, he called, after we called him out, he said, "You are correct, sir." And it's very rare when that happens. It was a wonderful conversation I had with him. And BC will be heard from in the NCAA tournament. Rest assured. Sykes on the blocks is going to be fouled. And that'll go against Johnson. That's number 3 on James Johnson. Check that, number 2.
And I think Sykes might have gotten away with a little bit of a push-off on that. You see the hook with the left arm right there.
Stitt will trigger it in. He needs help. And Hale will bail them out with a foul against Rivers. Speaking of the hook, he had KC hook.
Clemson is interesting. Clemson has had some issues. They have their point guard taking the ball out, and Wake Forest has countered with McFarland, their biggest player, with his arms waving, and I think it's really affected their ability to get the ball in bounds.
Sykes taking a seat, and Harvey Hale also sits down for Wake Forest. Ish Smith is out there along with L.D. Williams, Aminu, McFarland, and James Johnson. Oglesby runs down the inbounds pass. Deacons lead it by 7 with 6:42 and counting. And Booker gives it up to Potter again, not this time. A little surprised that Booker's not looking to initiate his offense. He's gotten a couple of touches and given it up rather quickly.
Yeah, well, and you know what? I don't know that he's all that comfortable away from the basket, Tim. And they've done such a good job of covering him up inside. But Oliver Purnell talked about it. He said he wouldn't mind if Booker had a lower scoring game. But if he facilitated better looks on the perimeter, that might not be the worst thing in the world.
Tanner Smith back on the floor as Smith runs away from Stitt.
I mean, I don't care who's back, but you've got to stop the advance of the basketball. And you just can't let the guy run in for an open layup.
16-5, Wake Forest run. Did we get a technical foul on? No, timeout. Thought for a moment Oliver might have gotten the tee. He did not. He just wanted a timeout.
Well, here's the look, the quick clamp. And then that's just, if you're Booker, I don't care if McFarland's there, you've got to step up and hope that your guard chases down from behind and gets that pass.
I think that had something to do with the anger of Oliver Purnell calling for that timeout. I thought for a moment he was upset about an official's call. He was not. He's one of the cool, collected coaches in college basketball. Mike, I believe for Clemson this year, last season they got off the stride, made it to the NCAAs, had a blown lead in the first round against a very good Villanova team. I think this squad for Oliver Purnell, it's about getting there and doing some damage in this NCAA tournament.
And it's all a process, Tim, and they've certainly done a terrific job. And there was, there wasn't hoping that they were going to get to the tournament this year. There was the expectation that they were going to get to the NCAAs.
Yes. And you see the 7 double-digit ACC wins. That's a school record for them. When they're right, they are really good. Potter turns it over, trying to force it into Booker. Williams does the same thing. A little return to sender. Oglesby, end-to-end, gives it up to Stitt. Nice lead. There's Booker. Potter with a wonderful find along the low block.
That was almost an impossible pass. I don't know how he connected it. Booker did a nice job of holding his ground on the front.
Near steal by Rivers. Here's Smith. So quick. So quick. Stays with it and is fouled. Stitt got him over the back. Well, we talked to Dino Gaudio about Ish Smith and what he brings to the table. So much quickness and leadership.
But now I think he's playing like a junior. In other words, he's overcome the injury. He's back to where he was. Now he's playing even better.
He is. And he has fought through injuries as Ish Smith. Jen Hildreth has more on that.
talked to Ish, and he told me that when he first came back, Wake had such a good start to the season. He said, at first, I didn't really know how to come back, where I fit in. He'd started all his career. He wasn't used to coming off the bench. And Dino Gaudio said the difference was when he finally figured out he did not have to be Jeff Teague. Jeff Teague is a very different point guard than Ishmael Smith is. Teague is a scorer first. Smith is a passer. And when Ishmael figured that out, that he didn't have to be Jeff, he was much better.
There's that fifth metatarsal that caused the trouble for him.
The thing that's impressive to me about Smith, and with his game, he was such a liability at the free throw line, Tim, and now an 81% shooter, and he's only taken 26. But that a huge jump, and now they feel like they can have him in at the end of the game.
Oglesby.
Oglesby's just been a non-factor in this game. They've really concentrated on taking away his offense.
Only the 1-3 very early in the game. It's a critical defensive sequence for Clemson here. They don't want to fall behind by double-digit points. This roof will blow off here in the two-night. Mark Farland is fouled. Oglesby reaching in, trying to come over to give help, picks up the personal.
Well, again, you know, when you make a slap at the basketball and it goes straight up in the air, that signifies a foul. If he had gotten all ball like he was telling the referee, the ball would have gone straight down.
Very productive night for McFarland. He has 14.
And that is such a, he really gives this team a lot of confidence defensively, Tim. He gives them a lot of toughness. That is a terrific line for Chase McFarland right there. 14 points, 8 rebounds, great defensive Booker, and staying on the floor.
And getting to the line. Most of his points coming from the stripe. Clemson has missed 7 of their last 10 field goals.
Nice duck in by Williams to deflect the pass.
Teague back on the floor with Ish Smith getting a blow on the Wake Forest sidelines. Johnson wide open. Johnson follows with authority. Oglesby answers with a tray. What a frenetic pace. L.D. Williams right at the rim. Yes, and a foul. James Johnson, after missing a 3-ball, said, "Take that," on the follow. Wake leads it by 11. Let's take a look, Mike, at our Avis Try Harder play of the game, and it's been James Johnson's overall second half play.
Well, he's been terrific. 17 points after intermission. Getting out, he showed the versatility to getting out on the open floor, the ability to get to his right hand. Knocks down a 3-ball right here. And when the 3-ball doesn't go, the dunk does. Great finish.
Coming into tonight's game, he was on the cusp of becoming a member of the 500 rebound club. At 479, he's got 7 tonight, so he'll be at 500 very soon. Teague, his teammate, on his way to becoming a member of the 1,000-point club. These guys, if they stay together for a while, they could be putting up numbers that won't be broken here for quite some time.
And James Johnson is coming off a couple of very average games. 8.5 points per his last 2, was 8 of 20 from the field. But I talked about that run where he was so dominant, 3 straight games, 26 points, 13 rebounds. They need him to play like that from this point forward to be that dominant force.
In a lot of respects, Mike, as much fun as this game has been for both teams, and I think we discussed this earlier today, both have the ability to make deep runs in the NCAA tournament, but both are capable of being early exits as well.
And you know what? You could probably throw that blanket over about 20 teams.
That's right.
Make the postseason.
You could. It's all about matchups. Where do these teams go? Oglesby, yes!
See, this is what Clemson has. The weapon they have that they can get back in this game is the three-point shot.
Rivers trying to stay with Smith. They'll dig into the shot clock a little bit here. Smith all the way to the rack. Stays with it. What a putback! On the seat of his pants, he followed.
See, Clemson can't afford that. They made a nice defensive stand, and then your point guard gets an offensive rebound and a putback.
Oglesby, tough pass to make, was recovered by Booker. Count it, and a foul.
Well, they did the right thing. They jammed Oglesby and made him a playmaker. But then Booker comes up big. The great hands inside. He's on his left hand, so he has the ability to finish. Smith almost got that, but that was a terrific recovery by Booker. And then Smith, here it is. You get the miss right here. Somebody's got to come up with that ball in an orange uniform.
Booker now with 14 points, but he has been stymied in this half. We have a clock situation, perhaps. Seems that we very rarely can get through one of these games without having a situation with either the shot clock, game clock. See what they're looking for here. Carl Hess has gone over to take a look at the monitor. I think it's time on the game clock after the last possession.
Yeah, because it never started right there when Clemson inbounded the ball. It never started.
So get your stopwatch ready.
And here's the play. You'll see it. Smith making that terrific recovery on the short miss. And then in the lower right, watch the clock. Continue right here. It's 3:02, I think, when he finally got it inbounds, and it never started after that again.
So you have to do the old 1-1000, 2-1000, get the stopwatch out and determine, because the play does come to an end with a bucket and a foul. They can they're doing the 1-1000, 2-1000 right now over at the.
And that was a good 20+
yes,
seconds.
It was. Carl Hess will make the call, and they'll change the clock. And of course, they're informing both coaching staffs. The good news in that situation is that the play did come to an end. I've seen this happen before, Mike, where there may have been a change of possession, and that really gets dicey.
Yeah, and right now, this, I think, is to the benefit of Clemson, because you had a successful play, and now the crowd is a little bit back on their heels. Everybody's waiting to see what's going on here. Things have gotten awfully quiet in the building.
I want to take another look at our principal edge keys to the game, Mike. Going in, the G-Man's plan looked this way.
Well, perimeter production, we talked about it, and Oglesby and Rivers have been solid, 10 of 24 from 3. But 18 more points in the paint for Wake Forest, so they're utilizing their size along the front line.
And when you've got size and you've got depth with that size, that makes a huge difference. And it's one of the reasons why we touched on this at the beginning of the year. You know, Wake Forest is
15 seconds they took off the clock.
I think that's accurate. But they're one of the few teams that's quick enough to run with North Carolina. You know, they're one of the few teams that has enough bodies to give on the front line to deal with a low post presence. A team that's, I mean, they really have a lot of pluses going into the NCAA tournament. They really do.
And the one thing that you could say they're lacking is the experience. But with Smith at the point guard, it's a junior that gives you some leadership there.
You wonder, though, if because they're an inexperienced team, early round game against an opponent they know little about, that maybe takes the air out of the ball, forces them to play half court, slows them down, would they be as interested?
Well, they better be interested in finishing this game, because it's an 8-point game in 2.5 minutes to go, so there's still plenty of time.
Teague feeds Johnson. Boy, he missed Aminu, took it in himself. That's as good as a pass, right? Count it, and a foul. Sometimes the best pass is a missed shot. without Farouk Aminu.
And that's historically been one of Clemson's best first passes. And but here, and this is the advantage that Aminu has in the back line, because he can play over the top of Casey Rivers. He's got two guards that he has to contend with, and at 6'8", there's no, he's going to come up with that ball more times than not.
Aminu with 20 points, 91-80. Wake by 11. Oglesby a blow by. Runner doesn't fall. Booker trying to keep it alive. Aminu's got it, and he's fouled.
Yeah, again, that's the size of Wake Forest that affected Trevor Booker, because instead of getting the ball coming down and going up strongly, he tried to get it up on the rim quickly, and he missed the shot.
Terrence Oglesby got the foul, his fifth.
At the line with 2 shots.
Well, we're showing Oglesby with 5, but they've made no move to get him out of the game. Must be a problem with the official score. Nice runner by Young.
And it's been, they've been attacking Jeff Teague.
Oh, a steal! And Young couldn't get it to fall. Had a tippy. Well, that would have been huge.
Yeah, down to 8 points. A big miss on a very easy layup.
They gave one of those fouls originally for Oglesby. Now that'll be 5. He is done after that. One of those fouls earlier was attributed to Oglesby and should not have been, but that's it. So now Oliver Purnell will call over his team. The tournament resume for the Clemson Tigers is a very good one. I see them, Mike, probably a 3 or probably a 4 seed.
Yeah, I would say 4. He's 4-4 against the top 50. Lost at Virginia, a tough one, but the dismantling of Duke down at Littlejohn, a very good Illinois team, and see the strength of schedule. Okay, very solid RPI.
That loss at Virginia doesn't look nearly as bad as it once did.
Yep.
The way they finished their season for Dave Lato, and for Wake Forest, I believe destined for 2.
Right, that's where they're destined in the ACC tournament, and it's been a terrific year for the Demon Deacs.
Just perhaps if an early punch out comes to Wake, it could drop them to a 3, but right now I think they're likely to be a 2. Dino Gaudio's team looking to get to 24-5. 11-5 in the season and a 2 seed in the upcoming ACC tournament in Atlanta. Rivers for 3. Johnson clears.
Well, and if everything goes to chalk in the tournament, it could set up a third rematch or a second rematch between Wake Forest and Duke in the semis.
Oliver Purnell has said, don't foul. T gonna blow by. Let's go home. Let's not get hurt. Let's get on to the second season. That's what he's telling his team. Booker, count it, and a foul. Good follow by Trevor Booker. Harvey Hale is going to come back in, the senior. And he'll get a curtain call, I'm sure, as Aminu sits down. Chances are Dino Gaudio will allow Hale to come in, and then Hale to get his own standing O before the game is done.
Hale to Hale.
Yes. Young man from Albuquerque. I remember, Mike, when Skip Prosser was forced to, the late Skip Prosser was forced to have Harvey play the point guard position. Something he was not comfortable with in his freshman year. Most of his starts came at that time in his career, and he's handled so much of the recruitment of these young players that meant so much. He's handled it so very well. Jen Hildreth's got more on that.
Things about Harvey Hale, nothing but positive, both from him and about him and the way he has handled the situation. I mean, he's averaging just over 2 minutes per game in his last 5 games, and this is a guy who started 46 games the first 3 years here. He said, look, I've never been to the NCAA tournament. I want to get there and be a part of something special. Whatever I need to do to get there is okay for me.
Teague out there. And the rebound taken down by Rivers. Young. Stitt lost it out of bounds. I think they're going to get Hale out of the game, get some of the other seniors in, hopefully. That's what Dino wants to do. Mike Lepore, some of the walk-on seniors getting an opportunity. Bobby Hookstra, senior from Louisville, North Carolina, and the curtain call for Harvey Hale. Good for him. Pat Kelsey giving him a hug. He'll get his degree in May in communications. Coming after you, G-Man.
Bring it on.
James Johnson will check out. And Mike Lepore does get into the game. No, it's not Johnson. I think he wanted to sit, but it's Mike Williams that will sit down as the walk-on Lepore from Flemington, New Jersey gets in the game.
56-point second half for Wake Forest. I told you, scoring is not a problem.
Not an issue
for this team.
Young for 3. And Oliver Purnell wanted a quick timeout. He's not going to utilize the timeout. He just wanted to stop the clock, get everybody back out there. That will do it. Wake Forest will be the #2 seed in the upcoming ACC tournament. Dino Gaudio's team gets the win 96-88, moving to 24-5 and 11-5 in conference play. Oliver Purnell's team moves to 23-7, 9-7 in the ACC. As you look at our final regular season standings, North Carolina will be the #1 seed in Atlanta. Their top seed for the NCAA, probably in good shape as well. But Wake Forest makes a strong move tonight. And let's go over to Jen Hildreth. Jen?
Well, I've got Dino Gaudio. And Dino, you said before the game that if your guys played Wake Forest basketball, you'd win this game. Can you define that for me, and how much of that did we see?
Well, we did a much better job in the second half of guarding, and that's what we do. And I thought we did a great job of attacking their pressure for layups and dunks. But I'm really happy for our seniors. Emotional game for them. Great way for them to go out in the Joe Coliseum.
Got to talk a little bit about James Johnson, though, especially the way he played in the second half.
He gave us a lot of energy, played with a lot of emotion, and made some big buckets for us. Great job by James.
All right, well, congratulations. Best of luck to you guys in the postseason. Tim?
One of the really great guys in the business, Dino Gaudio. Same holds true for Oliver Purnell as well. We'll return with some post-game activities here at Lawrence Joel Coliseum in Winston-Salem after this.